Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Agnanatimirandasya Gyananjana Salakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Sri Gurave Namaha. Sri Chaitanya Manobhistam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Svayam Rupa Kadamahyam Dadati Svapadantikam Vandeham Sri Guru Sri Yutapata Kamalam Sri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Sri Rupam Sagrijatam Sahagana Raghunatanvitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Sri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Sri Visakanvitamscha He Krishna Karuna Sindho Dinabandho Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrisabhanusute Devi Pranamami Haripriye Pancha Kalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhya Cha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Namam Vishnu Padaya Krishna Pristaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swami Niti Namine Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvisesha Shunyavadi Pashadjaya Deshatarine Jaya Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadara Srivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Narayanam Namaskritya Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayamudiraye Srinvatam Svakata Krishna Punyashravana Kirtana Rityantastoya Bhadrani Vidunuti Suhritsatam Nastapráyesvabhadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavati Uttama Shloke Bhaktir Bhavati Naishtiki. Before reciting the Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam, which is the very means of conquest, one should offer respectful obeisances unto the personality of Godhead Narayana, unto Narayana Rishi, the supremest human being, unto Mother Saraswati, the goddess of learning, and unto Shri Vyasadeva, the author. Sri Krishna, the personality of Godhead, who is the Paramatma, supersoul in everyone's heart, and the benefactor of the truthful devotee, cleanses desire for material enjoyment from the heart of the devotees who has developed the urge to hear his messages, which are in themselves virtuous when properly heard and chanted. By regular attendance in classes on the Bhagavatam, and by rendering of service to the pure devotee, all that is troublesome to the heart is almost completely destroyed, and loving service unto the personality of Godhead, who is praised with transcendental songs, is established as an irrevocable fact. Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam ki jai, Śrīla Prabhupada ki jai. Hare Krishna, Dheeraj Prabhu Tandar Pranam, Jai Śrīla Prabhupada.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu Dandat Pranam, Jai Shri Prabhupada. Prabhu, can I start first? I might need to go early. It's too late here actually. It's 8:50 almost.
Yes, Prabhu. Is it Ekadashi in all India?
Yes, it is Ekadashi today.
Yes, Prabhu. Okay.
So we can start?
Yes, Prabhu.
Canto 3, chapter 25, text 21. Titikshava karunika suhrida sarvadehinam ajata shatrava shanta sadhuva sadhubhushana. Synonyms: Titikshava, tolerant; Karunika, merciful; Suhrid, friendly; Sarvadehinam, to all living entities; Ajata Shatrava, inimical to none; Shanta, peaceful; Sadhava, abiding by scriptures; Sadhubhushana, adorned with sublime characteristics. Translation: The symptoms of a sadhu are that he is tolerant, merciful, and friendly to all living entities. He has no enemies, he is peaceful, he abides by the scriptures, and all his characteristics are sublime. Purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada ki jai. A sadhu, as described above, is a devotee of the Lord. His concern, therefore, is to enlighten people in devotional service to the Lord. That is his mercy. He knows that without devotional service to the Lord, human life is spoiled. A devotee travels all over the country from door to door, preaching, be Krishna conscious, be a devotee of Lord Krishna. Don't spoil your life in simply fulfilling your animal propensities. Human life is meant for self realization or Krishna consciousness. These are the preachings of a sadhu. He is not satisfied with his own liberation. He always thinks about others. He is the most compassionate personality towards all the fallen souls. One of his qualifications, therefore, is Karunika, great mercy to the fallen souls. While engaged in preaching work, he has to meet with so many opposing elements, and therefore the sadhu or devotee of the Lord has to be very tolerant. Someone may ill-treat him because the conditioned souls are not prepared to receive the transcendental knowledge of devotional service. They don't like it. That is their disease. The sadhu has the thankless task of impressing upon them the importance of devotional service. Sometimes devotees are personally attacked with violence. Lord Jesus Christ was crucified. Haridas Thakur was canned in 22 marketplaces. And Lord Chaitanya's principal assistant Nityananda was violently attacked by Jagai and Madhai. But still they were tolerant because their mission was to deliver the fallen souls. One of the qualifications of a sadhu is that he is very tolerant and is merciful to all fallen souls. He is merciful because he is the well-wisher of all the living entities. He is not only a well-wisher of human society, but a well-wisher of animal society as well. It is said here, Sarvadehinam, which indicates all living entities who have accepted a material body. Not only does the human being have a material body, but other living entities such as cats and dogs also have material bodies. The devotee of the Lord is merciful to everyone, the cats, dogs, trees, etc. He treats all living entities in such a way that they can ultimately get salvation from this material entanglement. Shivananda Sena, one of the disciples of Lord Chaitanya, gave liberation to a dog by treating the dog transcendentally. There are many instances where a dog got salvation by association with a sadhu because a sadhu engages in the highest philanthropic activities for the benediction of all living entities. Yet although a sadhu is not inimical towards anyone, the world is so ungrateful that even a sadhu has many enemies. What is the difference between an enemy and a friend? It is a difference in behavior. A sadhu behaves with all conditioned souls for their ultimate relief from the material entanglement. Therefore, no one can be more friendly than a sadhu in relieving a conditioned soul. A sadhu is calm and he quietly and peacefully follows the principles of scriptures. A sadhu means one who follows the principles of scripture and at the same time is a devotee of the Lord. One who actually follows the principle of scripture must be a devotee of God because all the Shastras instruct us to obey the order of personality of Godhead. Sadhu therefore means a follower of the scriptural injunctions and a devotee of the Lord. All these characteristics are prominent in a devotee. A devotee develops all the good qualities of demigods, whereas a non-devotee, even though academically qualified, has no actual good qualities. Yeah, Sarve Gunes Tatra Samasate Sura Harav Abhaktasya Kuto Mahadguna. It is verse in Bhagavatam. Or good character. Whereas a non-devotee, even though academically qualified, has no good qualification or good characteristics in the standard of transcendental realization. Text 22. मय्यनन्येन भावेन भक्तिं कुर्वन्ति ये दृढां मत्कृते त्यक्तकर्माणस् त्यक्तसज्जनबान्धवा. Synonyms: May unto me, ananyena bhavena, with undeviated mind, bhaktim, devotional service, kurvanti, perform, ye, those who, dridam, staunch, matkrite, for my sake, tyakta, renounced, karmana, activities, tyakta, renounced, svajana, family relationships, bandhava, family acquaintances. Translation: Such a sadhu engages in staunch devotional service to the Lord without deviation. For the sake of the Lord, he renounces all other connections, such as family relationships and friendly acquaintances within the world. Purport: a person in the renounced order of a life, a sannyasi, is also called a sadhu because he renounces everything: his home, his comfort, his friends, his relatives, and his duties to friends and to family. He renounces everything for the sake of Supreme Personality of Godhead. A sannyasi is generally in the renounced order of life because his renunciation will be successful only when his energy is employed in the service of the Lord with great austerity. It is said here, therefore, Bhaktim Kurvanti Ye Dridam. A person who seriously engages in the service of the Lord and is in the renounced order of a life is a sadhu. A sadhu is one who has given up all responsibility to society, family, and worldly humanitarianism simply for the sake of the service of the Lord. As soon as he takes his birth in the world, a person has so many responsibilities and obligations: to the public, to the demigods, to the great sages, to the general living entities, to his parents, to the family, forefathers, and to so many. When he gives up all such obligations for the sake of the service of the Supreme Lord, he is not punished for such renunciation of obligation. But but if for sense gratification a person renounces all such obligations, he is punishable by the law of nature. Text 23. मदाश्रयः कथामिष्टाः शृण्वन्ति कथयन्ति च तपन्ति विविधस्तापा नयतान्मद्गतचेतसः. Synonyms: Madashraya, about me; Katha, stories; Mrishta, delightful; Shrinvanti, they hear; Kathyanti, they chant; Cha, and Tapanti, inflict suffering; Vividha, various; Tapa, the material miseries; Na, do not; Etan, onto them; Madgata, fixed on me; Chetasa, their thoughts. Translation: engaged constantly in chanting and hearing about me, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, the sadhus do not suffer from material miseries because they are always filled with thoughts of my pastimes and activities. Purport: there are multifarious miseries in material existence, those pertaining to the body and the mind, and those imposed by other living entities, and those imposed by natural disturbances. But a sadhu is not disturbed by such miserable conditions because his mind is always filled with Krishna consciousness, and thus he does not like to talk about anything but the activities of the Lord. Maharaj Amrish did not speak of anything but the pastimes of the Lord. Vacham Shivaikuntha Gunanu Varnane. He engaged his words only in glorification of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Sadhus are always interested in hearing about the activities of the Lord or his devotees. Since they are filled with Krishna consciousness, they are forgetful of the material miseries. Ordinary conditioned souls, being forgetful of the activities of the Lord, are always full of anxieties and material tribulations. On the other hand, since the devotees always engaged in the topics of the Lord, they are forgetful of the miseries of material existence. Text 24. क एते साधवः साध्वी सर्वसङ्गविवर्जिता सङ्गस्तेष्वथ ते प्रार्थ्या सङ्गदोषहराहिते. Synonyms: te ite, those very; sadhava, devotees; sadhvi, virtuous lady; sarva, all; sangha, attachments; vivarjita, freed from; sangha, attachment; teshu, onto them; atha, hence; te, by you; prarthya, must be sought; sangadosha, the pernicious effect of material attachment; hara, counteractors of; he, indeed; te, de. Translation: O my mother, O virtuous lady, these are the qualities of great devotees who are free from all attachment. You must seek attachment to such holy men, for this counteracts the pernicious effects of material attachment. What is pernicious? harmful effects. Dangerous. Okay. Purport. Kapila Muni herein advises his mother Devahuti that if she wants to be free from material attachment, then she should increase her attachment for sadhus or devotees who are completely freed from all material attachment. In Bhagavad Gita, 15th chapter, 15th verse, it is stated, who is qualified to enter into the kingdom of Godhead. It is said there, Nirmana Moha Jitasanga Dosha. This refers to one who is completely freed from the puffed up condition of material possessiveness. A person may be materially very rich, opulent, or respectable, but if he at all wants to transfer himself to the spiritual kingdom back home, back to Godhead, then he has to be freed from the puffed up condition of material possessiveness, because that is a false position. The word moha used here means the false understanding that one is rich or poor. In this material world, the conception that one is very rich or very poor or any such consciousness is connection with material existence is false, because this body itself is false or temporary. A pure soul who is prepared to be freed from this material entanglement must first of all be freed from the association of three modes of nature. Our consciousness at present moment is polluted because of association with the three modes of nature. Therefore, in Bhagavad Gita, the same principle is stated. It is advised, Jitasanga dosha. One should be freed from the contaminated association of the three modes of material nature. Here also, in the Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam, it is confirmed a pure devotee who is preparing to transfer himself to the spiritual kingdom is also freed from the association of three modes of material nature. We have to seek the association of such devotees. For this reason, we have begun the International Society for Krishna Consciousness. There are many mercantile, scientific, and other associations in human society to develop a particular type of education or consciousness. But there is no association which helps one to get free from the material association. If anyone has reached the stage where he must become free from this material contamination, then he has to seek the association of devotees, wherein Krishna consciousness is exclusively cultured. One can thereby become freed from all material association. Because a devotee is freed from all contaminated material association, he is not affected by the miseries of material nature, by the miseries of material existence. Even though he appears to be in the material world, he is not affected by the miseries of the material world. How is it possible? There is a very good example in the activities of the cat. The cat carries her kittens in her mouth, and when she kills a rat, she also carries the booty in her mouth. Thus, both are carried in the mouth of the cat, but they are in different conditions. The kitten feels comfort in the mouth of the mother, whereas the rat is carried in the mouth of the cat. The rat feels the blows of death. Similarly, those who are sadhava or devotees engaged in Krishna consciousness in the transcendental service of the Lord do not feel the contamination of material miseries, whereas those who are not devotees in Krishna consciousness actually feel the miseries of material existence. One should therefore give up the association of materialistic persons and seek the association of persons engaged in Krishna consciousness. And by such association, he will be benefited in spiritual advancement. By their words and instructions, he will be able to cut off his attachment to material existence. Text 25. Satam prasangam mama virya samvido bhavanti ritkarna rasayana katha tajjoshanadva apavarga vartmani shraddha ratir bhaktir anukramishati. Wow, this series of 4, 5, 6 verses, they are very nice to remember. All these verses are important, starting from 20. Synonyms: Satam, of pure devotees; Prasangat, through the association; Mama, my Virya; Mama, my Virya, wonderful activities; Samavidha, by discussion of; Bhavanti, become; Rit, to the heart; Karna, to the ear; Rasa, Ayana, pleasing; Katha, the stories; Tat, of that; Joshanat, by cultivation; Asu, activity, apavarga of liberation, Vartmani on the path, Shraddha, firm faith, Rati, attraction, Bhakti, devotion, Anukramishati, will follow in order. Translation: in the association of pure devotees, discussion of the pastimes and activities of the Supreme Personality of Godhead is very pleasing and satisfying to the ear and the heart. By cultivating such knowledge, one gradually becomes advanced on the path of liberation, and thereafter he is freed and his attraction becomes fixed. Then real devotion and devotional service begins. Purport: the process of advancing in Krishna consciousness and devotional service is described here. The first point is that one must seek the association of persons who are Krishna conscious and who engage in devotional service. Without such association, one cannot make advancement. Simply by theoretical knowledge or study, one cannot make any appreciable advancement. One must give up the association of materialistic persons and seek the association of devotees, because without the association of devotees, one cannot understand the activities of the Lord. Generally, people are convinced of the impersonal feature of the Absolute Truth. Because they do not associate with devotees, they cannot understand the Absolute Truth can be a person and have personal activities. This is very difficult subject matter, and unless one has personal understanding of the Absolute Truth, there is no meaning to devotion. Service or devotion cannot be offered to anything impersonal. Service must be offered to a person. Non-devotees cannot appreciate Krishna consciousness by reading the Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam or any other Vedic literature, wherein the activities of Lord are described. They think that they are fiction, manufactured stories, because spiritual life is not explained to them in proper mood. To understand the personal activities of the Lord, one has to seek the association of devotees. And by such association, when one contemplates and and by such association, when one contemplates and tries to understand the transcendental activities of the Lord, then his path to liberation is open and he is freed. One who has firm faith in the Supreme Personality of Godhead becomes fixed, and his attraction for association with the Lord and the devotees increases. Association with devotees means association with the Lord. The devotees who make this association develops the consciousness for rendering service to the Lord. And then, being situated in the transcendental position of devotional service, he gradually becomes perfect. Text 26. Bhaktya pumanjat viraga ऐन्द्रियाद् दृष्ट श्रुतान्मद् रचनानुचिन्तया चित्तस्य यत्तो ग्रहणे योगयुक्तो यतिष्यते रुचिभिर्योगमार्गे. Synonyms: Bhaktya, by devotional service; Puman, a person; Jata, viraga, having developed distaste; Aindriyat, for sense gratification; Drishta, seen in this world; Shrutat, heard in the next world; Mat Rachana, my activities of creation, and so on; Anuchintaya, by constantly thinking about; Chittasya, of the mind; Yatta, engaged; Grahane, in the control; Yoga Yukta, situated in devotional service; Yatishyate, will endeavor; Rijubhi, easy; Yoga Margai, by the process of mystic power. Translation: thus, consciously engaged in devotional service in the association of devotees, a person gains distaste for sense gratification, both in this world and in the next, by constantly thinking about the activities of the Lord. This process of Krishna consciousness is the easiest process of mystic power. When one is actually situated on the path of devotional service, he is able to control the mind. But in all scriptures, people are encouraged to act in a pious way so that they can enjoy sense gratification not only in this life but also in the next. For example, one is promised promotion to the heavenly kingdom of higher planets by pious fruitive activities. But a devotee in the association of devotees prefer to contemplate the activities of the Lord, how he has created this universe, how he is maintaining it, how the creation dissolves, and how in the spiritual kingdom the Lord's pastimes are going on. There are full literatures describing these activities of the Lord, especially Bhagavad Gita, Brahma Samhita, and Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam. The sincere devotee who associates with devotees gets the opportunity to hear and contemplate this subject of the pastimes of the Lord. And the result is that he feels distaste for so called happiness in this or that world, in heaven or on other planets. The devotees are simply interested in being transferred to the personal association of the Lord. They have no more attraction for temporary so called happiness. That is the position of one who is Yoga Yukta. One who is fixed in mystic power is not disturbed by the allurement of this world or that world. He is interested in the matters of spiritual understanding or the spiritual situation. This sublime situation is very easily attained by the easiest process, Bhakti Yoga. Rijubhir Yoga Margai. A very suitable word used here is Rijubhi or very easy. There are different processes of Yoga Marga, attaining yoga perfection. But this process, devotional service to the Lord, is the easiest. Not only it is the easiest process, but the result is sublime. Everyone therefore should try to take this process of Krishna consciousness and reach the highest perfection of life. Text 27. Ashevayayam prakrite gunanam jnanena vairagya vijrambhitena yogena may arpitaya cha bhaktya mam pratyagatmanam ihavarundhe. Synonyms: Ashevaya, by not engaging in the service. Ayam, this person. Prakrite, gunanam, of the modes of material nature. Jnanena, by knowledge. Vairagya, with renunciation. Vrijambhitena, developed. Yogena, by practicing yoga. May, unto me. Arpitya, fixed. Cha, and bhaktya, with devotion. Mam, unto me. Pratyak atmanam, absolute truth. Iha, in this very life. Avarundhe, one attains. Translation: Thus, by not engaging in the service of the modes of material nature, but by developing Krishna consciousness, knowledge in renunciation, and by practicing yoga, in which the mind is always fixed in devotional service unto the Supreme Personality of Godhead, one achieves my association in this very life. For I am the Supreme Personality, the Absolute Truth. Purport: When one engages in devotional service to the Lord in the 9 different kinds of Bhakti Yoga as enunciated in authoritative scriptures, such as by hearing, Shravanam, chanting, Kirtanam, remembering, offering worship, praying, and offering personal service, either in one of them, or 2, or 3, or all of them, he naturally has no opportunity to engage in the service of the 3 modes of material nature. Unless one has good engagements in spiritual service, it is not possible to get out of the attachment to material service. Those who are not devotees, therefore, are interested in so called humanitarian or philanthropic work, such as opening a hospital or charitable institution. These are undoubtedly good works in the sense that they are pious activities, and the result is that the performer may get some opportunities for sense gratification either in this life or in the next. Devotional service, however, is beyond the boundary of sense gratification. It is completely spiritual activity. When one engages in the spiritual activity of devotional service, naturally he does not get any opportunity to engage in sense gratificatory activities. Krishna conscious activities are performed not blindly, but with perfect understanding of knowledge and renunciation. This kind of yoga practice, in which the mind is always fixed upon the Supreme Personality of Godhead in devotion, results in liberation in this very life. The person who performs such acts gets in touch with the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Lord Chaitanya therefore approved the process of hearing from realized devotees about the pastimes of the Lord. It does not matter to what category of this world the audience belongs. If one meekly and submissively hears about the activities of the Lord from a realized soul, he will be able to conquer the Supreme Personality of Godhead, who is unconquerable by any other processes. Hearing or associating with the devotees is the most important function for self-realization. Text 28, the last verse I am reading. देवहूतिरुवाच काचित् काचित्त्वे उचिता भक्ति कीदृशी मम गोचरा यया पदं ते निर्वाणम् अंजसा वासनवा अहम्. Synonyms: Devahuti Uvacha. Devahuti said, Kachit what? Tvai unto you. Uchita proper bhakti devotional service. Kridishi what kind? Mama by me. Gochara fit to be practiced. Yaya by which? Padam fit. Te your. Nirvanam liberation. Anjasa immediately. Anvashnavai shalatin aham I. Translation: On hearing this statement of the Lord, Devahuti inquired, what kind of devotional service is worth developing and practicing to help me to easily and immediately attain to the service of your lotus feet? Purport: It is stated in Bhagavad Gita that no one is barred from rendering service to the Lord, whether one is a woman or a laborer or mercantile. If he engages himself in the devotional service of the Lord, he is promoted to the highest perfectional stage and goes back home, back to Godhead. Ya striya vaishyas tata shudra tepi antim paramgatim. The devotional service which is most suitable for different types of devotees is determined and fixed by the mercy of the spiritual master. Revol. So if anyone else wants to continue. Jai.
Thank you so much, Prabhu. Hare Krishna, Praveen, Prabhan, Rishikesh, Prabhu, Dandar, Pranam, Jai Shri Prabhupada. Okay,
Hare
text
Krishna
number.
Prabhuji. Hare Krishna Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna, Lord, pranam to all of you.
Hare Krishna, Shubham, Prabhu, Dandar, Pranam, Jai Shri Prabhupada.
Shall I read?
Yes, Prabhu.
So, Praveen Prabhu, thank you. Today I received the prasadam you have sent.
Oh,
Okay, in
Haribo.
fact, I was about to drop a message to you on WhatsApp, checking with you whether you had received it or not. So anyhow, you have already confirmed with me, so that's good. Thank you, Prabhu.
Haribo, very nice.
So text 29, is it chapter 25? Yeah,
Yes, Prabhu.
yeah, chapter 25, third canto, chapter 25, text 29. Yo yoga bhagavad bhano निर्वाणात्मस् त्वयोदितः कीदृशः कति चाङ्गानि बोधनं synonyms यः which yoga mystic yoga process bhagavad banaha aiming at the supreme personality of Godhead nirvana atman embodiment of nirvana tvaya by you uditaha explained kidrishaha of what nature kati how many cha and angani branches yataha by which tattva of the truth avabodhanam understanding. Translation purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Translation: The mystic yoga system, as you have explained, aims at the Supreme Personality of Godhead and is meant for completely ending material existence. Please let me know what the nature of that yoga system is. How many ways are there by which one can understand in truth that sublime yoga? Purport: There are different kinds of mystic yoga systems aiming for different phases of the absolute truth. The Jnana Yoga system aims at the impersonal Brahman effulgence, and the Hatha Yoga system aims at the localized personal aspect, the Paramatma feature of the absolute truth, whereas Bhakti Yoga or devotional service, which is executed in 9 different ways, headed by hearing and chanting, aims at complete realization of the Supreme Lord. Hmm. There are different methods of self-realization, but here Devabhuti explain especially refers to the Bhakti Yoga system, which has already been primarily explained by the Lord. The different parts of the Bhakti Yoga system are hearing, chanting, remembering, offering prayers, worshipping the Lord in the temple, accepting service to Him, carrying out His orders, making friendship with Him, and after all, surrendering everything for the service of the Lord. The word Nirvanatman is very significant in this verse. Unless one accepts the process of devotional service, one cannot end the continuation of material existence. As far as jnanis are concerned, they are interested in jnana yoga, but even if one elevates oneself after a great performance of austerity to the Brahman effulgence, there is a chance of falling down again in the material world. Therefore, jnana yoga does not actually end material existence. Similarly, regarding the Hatha Yoga system, which aims at the localized aspect of the Lord Paramatma, it has been experienced that many yogis, such as Vishwamitra, fall down, but Bhakti yogis, once approaching the Supreme Personality of God, and never come back to this material world, as it is confirmed in the Bhagavad Gita. Yadgatva na nivartante. Upon going, one never comes back. Taktva deham punarjanma naiti. After giving up this body, he never comes back again to accept a material body. Nirvana does not finish the existence of the soul. The soul is ever existing. Therefore, nirvana means to end one's material existence, and to end material existence means to go back home, back to Godhead. Sometimes it is questioned how the living entity falls down from the spiritual world to the material world. Here is the answer. Unless one is elevated to the Vaikuntha planets, directly in touch with the Supreme Personality of Godhead, he is prone to fall down, either from the impersonal Brahman realization or from an ecstatic trance of meditation. Another word in this verse, Bhagavad Banaha, is very significant. Banaha means arrow. The Bhakti Yoga system is just like an arrow aiming up to the Supreme Personality of Godhead. The Bhakti Yoga system never urges one towards the impersonal Brahman effulgence or to point of Paramatma realization. This Banaha or arrow is so sharp and swift that it goes directly to the Supreme Personality of Godhead, penetrating the regions of impersonal Brahman and localized Paramatma. Text 30. तदेतन्मे विज्ञानीधीये यथाहं मन्दधीर्हरे सुखं बुद्ध्येय दुर्बोधं योषा भगवद अनुग्रहात् synonyms tatetat, that same, may, to me, vijaniti ihi, please explain, yatha, so that, aham, I, manda, slow, dihi, whose intelligence, Hare, oh my Lord, Sukham, easily, Buddhyeya, may understand, Durbodham, very difficult to understand, Yosha, ye, woman, Bhagavat Anugrahat, by your grace. Translation, my dear son Kapila, after all, I am a woman. It is very difficult for me to understand the absolute truth because my intelligence is not very great. But if you kindly explain it to me, even though I am not very intelligent, I can understand it and thereby feel transcendental happiness. Purport. Purport. Knowledge of the absolute truth is not very easily understood by ordinary, less intelligent men. But if the spiritual master is kind enough to the disciple, however unintelligent he may be, then by the divine grace of the spiritual master, everything is revealed. revealed. Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur therefore says, Yasya Prasadat, by the mercy of the spiritual master, Bhagavad Prasadaha, Bhagavad Prasadaha, the mercy of the Supreme Personality of Godhead is achievable, maybe. Yeah, H is revealed. The Abhuti requested her great son to be merciful towards her because she was a less intelligent woman and also his mother. By the grace of Kapila, it was quite possible for her to understand the absolute truth, even though the subject matter is very difficult for ordinary persons, especially women. Text 31. Maitreya uvacha viditvartham kapilo matur itham jata sneho yatra तन्वाभिजातः तत्त्वां नायं यत् प्रवदन्ति साङ्ख्यं प्रोवाच वै भक्तिवितानयोगम्. Synonyms. Maitreya Vacha, Maitreya said, Viditva, having known Artham, purpose, Kapila, Lord Kapila, Matuhu, of his mother Itham, thus Jata Sneha, I became compassionate Yatra upon her, Tanva, from her body, Abhijataha, born, Tatva, Am, Nayam, truths received by antiseptic suction, Yat, which Pravadanti, they call Sankhya philosophy, Provacha. He described why, in fact, bhakti, devotional service, vitana, spreading yoga, mystic yoga. Translation: Sri Maitreya said, after hearing the statement of his mother, Kapila could understand her purpose and he became compassionate towards her because of being born of her body. He described the Sankhya system of philosophy, which is a combination of devotional service and mystic realization, as received by disciplic succession. Purport. There is no purport. Text 32. Sri Bhagavanuvacha Devanam Guna Linganam Anushravika Karmanam Sattva Evaika Manaso Vrittihi स्वाभाविकी तु या अनिमित्ता भागवती भक्ति सिद्धेर्गरीयसी. Synonyms. Sri Bhagavan Vacha, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, said, the Yavanam of the senses or of the presiding deities of the senses, Gunalinganam, with which detect sense objects, Anushravika, according to scripture, Karmanam, which work Sattve unto the mind or unto the Lord, Eva, only, Eka, Manasaha, of a man of undivided mind, Vrittihi, inclination, Swabhaviki, natural, to, in fact, Va, which, Animitta, without motive, Bhagavati, to the personality of Godhead, Bhakti, devotional service, Siddhe, than salvation, Gariyasi, better. Translation. Lord Kapila said the censers are symbolic representations of the demigods and their natural inclination is to work under the direction of the Vedic conjunctions. As the senses are representatives of the demigods, so the mind is a representative of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. The mind's natural duty is to serve. When that service spirit is engaged in devotional service of the Personality of Godhead without any motive, that is far better even than salvation.
Really interesting. Senses are representative of demigod, mind is representative of person of Godhead.
Yes, in fact, in the Bhagavad Gita, Krishna says that I am the, out of all the senses, I am the mind.
Yes, Prabhu.
So, purport. The senses of the living entity are always engaged in some occupation, either in activities prescribed in the injunctions of the Vedas or in material activities. The natural inclination of the senses is to work for something, and the mind is the center of the senses. The mind is actually the leader of the senses, therefore it is called sattva. Similarly, the leader of all the demigods who are engaged in the activities of the material world, the sun, moon, Indra, etc., is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. It is stated in the Vedic literature that the demigods are different limbs of the universal body of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Our senses are also controlled by different demigods, and the mind is the representation of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. The senses, led by the mind, act under the influence of the demigods. And the service is ultimately aimed at the Supreme Personality of Godhead. The senses are in their natural position. The Lord is called Rishikesha, for he is actually the proprietor and ultimate master of the senses. The senses in the mind are naturally inclined to work, but when they are materially contaminated, they work for some material benefit or for the service of demigods, although actually they are meant to serve the Supreme Personality of Godhead. The senses are called Rishika, and the Supreme Personality of Godhead is called Rishikesha. Indirectly, all the senses are naturally inclined to serve the Supreme Lord, that is called Bhakti. Kapil Dev said that when the senses, without desire for material profit or other selfish motives, are engaged in the service of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, that is called devotional service. That spirit of service is far better than Siddhi, salvation. Bhakti, the inclination to serve the Supreme Personality of Godhead, is in a transcendental position far better than Mukti or liberation. That bhakti is the stage after liberation. Unless one is liberated, one cannot engage the senses in the service of the Lord. When the senses are engaged either in material activities of sense gratification or in the activities of the Vedic injunctions, there is some motive. But when the same senses are engaged in the service of the Lord and there is no motive, that is called animitta and is the natural inclination of the mind. The conclusion is that when the mind, without being deviated either to Vedic injunctions or material activities, is fully engaged in Krishna consciousness or devotion service to the Supreme Personality of God, it is far better than the most aspired for liberation from material entanglement.
Haribol. Okay, thank you so much, Prabhu. Now we must go to the six Astakam prayers.
Let us complete the next one session. There's only one.
Oh, is it? Yes, Prabhu. Is it this one?
Text 33. चरयत्याशु या कोशम निगीर्णम अनलो यथा synonyms jarayati dissolves ashu quickly ya which kosham the subtle body nigirnam the things eaten analaha fire yatha as. Translation. Bhakti, devotion service dissolves the subtle body of the living entity without separate effort, just as fire in the stomach digests all that we eat. Purport. Bhakti is in a far higher position than Mukti because a person's endeavor to get liberation from the material and engagement is automatically served in devotion service. The example is given here that the fire is in the stomach can digest whatever we eat. If the digestive power is sufficient, then whatever we can eat will be digested by the fire in the stomach. Similarly, a devotee does not have to try separately to attain liberation. That very service to the Supreme Personality of God, it is the process of his liberation, because to engage oneself in the service of the Lord is already liberation from material entanglement. Srila Bilamangal Thakur explained this position very nicely. He said, if I have unflinching devotion unto the lotus feet of the Supreme Lord, then mukti or liberation serves me as my maidservant. Mukti, the maidservant, is always ready to do whatever I ask. For a devotee, liberation is no problem at all. Liberation takes place without separate endeavor. Bhakti, therefore, is far better than mukti or the impersonalistic impersonalist position. The impersonalists undergo severe penances and austerities to attain mukti, but the bhakta simply by engaging himself in the bhakti process, especially in chanting Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, immediately develops control over the tongue by engaging it in chanting and accepting the remnants of foodstuff offered to the personality of Godhead. As soon as the tongue is controlled, naturally all of the senses are controlled automatically. Self sense control is the perfection of the yoga principle, and once liberation begins immediately as soon as he engages himself in the service of the Lord. It is confirmed by Kapil Deva that bhakti or devotional service is gariyasi, more glorious than siddhi liberation.
Ribol.
Haribol.
Thank you so much, Prabhu.
Thank you.
चेतोदर्पणमार्जनं भवमहादावाग्निर्वापनं श्रेयः कैरवचन्द्रिका वितरणं विद्यावधूजीवनम् आनन्दाम्बुतिवर्धनं प्रतिपदं पूर्णामृतस्वादनं सर्वात्मास्नपनं परं विजयते श्रीकृष्णसङ्कीर्तनम्
नाम्नामकारि बहुधा निज सर्वशक्तिस् तत्रार्पिता नियमितः स्मरणेन कालः एतादृशी तव कृपा भगवन् ममापि दुर्दैवमीदृशमिहाजनिनानुरागः तृणादपि सुनीचेन तरोरपि सहिष्णुना अमानिना मानदेन कीर्तनैः सदा हरिः न धनं न जनं सुन्दरीं कवितां वा जगदीशकामये मम जन्मनि जन्मनीश्वरे भवताद्भक्तिरहेतुकी त्वयि ऐनन्दतनुजकिङ्करं पैत्तं मां विषमे भवाम्बुधौ कृपया तव पागतपङ्कज स्थितधूलिसदृशं विचिन्तया नयनं गलदश्रुधारया वदनं गद्गदहृदया गिरा पुलकैर्जितं वपुः कदा तव नाम ग्रहणे भविष्यति युगायितं निमीषेण चक्षुषा प्राविश्यायितं शून्यायितं जगत्सर्वं गोविन्दविरहेण मे अश्लिष्टवापादरतां नष्टु माम् अदर्शनं मर्महतां तर्करोतु वा यथा तथा वा विधातु लम्पटो मत्प्राणनाथस्तु स एव नापरः.
Glory to the Sri Krishna Sankirtan, which cleanses the heart of all the dust accumulated for years and extinguishes the fire of conditional life of repeated birth and death. The Sankirtan movement is the prime benediction for humanity at large because it spreads the rays of the benediction moon. It is the life of all transcendental knowledge. It increases the ocean of transcendental bliss and it enables us to fully taste the nectar for which we are always anxious.
O my Lord, your holy name alone can render all benediction to living beings, and thus you have hundreds and millions of names like Krishna and Govinda. In these transcendental names, you have invested all your transcendental energies. There are not even hard and fast rules for chanting these names. O my Lord, out of kindness, you enable us to easily approach you by chanting your holy names, but I am so unfortunate that I have no attraction for them. One
One
should
should
chant the
Yes, Prabhu.
one should chant the holy name of the Lord in a humble state of mind, thinking oneself lower than the straw in the street. One should be more tolerant than a tree, devoid of all sense of false prestige, and ready to offer all respect to others. In such a state of mind, one can chant the holy name of the Lord constantly.
Almighty Lord, I have no desire to accumulate wealth, nor do I desire beautiful woman, nor do I want any number of followers. I only want your causes, devotional service, birth after birth.
O son of Maharaj Nanda Krishna, I am your eternal servitor, yet somehow or other I have fallen into the ocean of birth, and then please pick me up from this ocean of death and place me as one of the atoms of your lotus feet.
O my Lord, when will my eyes be decorated with tears of love flowing constantly when I chant your holy name? When will my voice choke up, and when will the hairs of my body stand on end at the recitation of your name?
Oh Govinda, feeling your separation, I am considering a moment to be like 12 years or more. Tears are flowing from my eyes like torrents of rain, and I am feeling all vacant in the world in your absence.
I know no one but Krishna is my Lord, and he shall remain. So even if he handles me roughly in his embrace or makes me broken-hearted by not being present before me, he is completely free to do anything and everything, for he is always my worship of the Lord, unconditionally. Shri Siksastakam ki jai, Chaitanya
Jai.
Mahaprabhu ki jai.
Yeah.
Bahujanma Karayadi Shravana Kirtan, Taputanapaya Krishnam Pade Premadan. If one is infested with the 10 offenses in the chanting of the Hare Krishna Mahamantra, despite his endeavor to chant the holy name for many birds, he will not get the love of God. That is the ultimate goal of this chanting. The 10 offenses against the holy name are as follows. The first offense is to blaspheme the devotees who have dedicated their lives for propagating the holy name of the Lord.
Second offense is to consider the names of demigods like Lord Shiva or Lord Brahma to be equal to or independent of the name of Lord Vishnu. Third offense is to disobey the orders of the spiritual master. Fourth offense is to blaspheme the Vedic literature or literature in pursuance of the Vedic version. Fifth offense is to consider the glories of chanting Hare Krishna to be an imagination. Sixth offense is to give some interpretation on the holy name of the Lord. Seventh offense is to commit sinful activities on the strength of the holy name of the Lord. Eighth offense is to consider the chanting of Hare Krishna as one of the auspicious ritualistic activities offered in the Vedas as fruitive activity is karma kanda. Ninth offense is to instruct a faithless person about the glories of the holy name. 10th offense is not to have complete faith in the chanting of the holy names and to maintain material attachments even after understanding so many instructions on this matter. It is also an offense to be getting to while chanting. Every devotee who claims to be a Vaishnava must guard against these offenses in order to quickly achieve the desired success, Krishna Prema. Let us offer our respectful obeisances on to all the Vaishnava devotees of the Lord. They can fulfill the desires of everyone, just like desired trees, and they are full of compassion for the fallen souls. Vancha kalpatarubhyascha vipa sindhubhyo cha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namaha.
Namo Namaha.
Nitapati Vaishnava ki jai,
Jai.
Prabhupada ki jai,
Jai.
Jai Gaur Premanande, Hari Hari Bol.
Hari Hari Bol.
Praveen
Thank you so
Prabhu,
much, Prabhu, for your association on this nice
Hare
Ekadashi.
Krishna, Praveen Prabhu,
Yes, Prabhu.
Hare Krishna. Praveen Prabhu, could you explain in summary? Actually, I was not present for some time.
See, the more stress is given on the devotional service here. Okay, so see, particularly there are three types: Jnana Yoga, Karma Yoga, and uh, Jnana Yoga, Hatha Yoga, and Bhakti Yoga. These are three different processes. Jnana Yoga focuses mostly on the Brahman effulgence, and Hatha Yoga mostly focuses on the localized feature of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, which is nothing but Paramatma. And Bhakti Yoga is actually totally related to the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So, out of the three systems, the best one is the Bhakti Yoga. So, can you come down, Prabhu? Where am I? So, Kapil Dev, as explained, all these three differences to his mother, who is Devavati, and presses the point that everyone has to be engaged in the devotional service of the Lord. And yes, let's talk about something related to the senses as well. So every sense is led by some kind of demigod. Okay, out of all the senses, mind is the most important sense, and which is the representative of the Lord Himself. So, if the mind is engaged in the material activities, um, it cannot be engaged in the devotional service, and it cannot be useful for attaining the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So, the mind has to be diverted to the Supreme Personality of Godhead by engaging it in His service. And Devahuti also admitted in one of the verses that it is not possible for her, being a woman, to understand the transcendental position of the Lord and the kind of devotional service. So she requested his son to explain to her in detail about the process in which she can follow and attain the Supreme Personality of Godhead ultimately. So Kapila Muni is going to explain that in detail in the upcoming verses. Have I covered everything, Prabhu? Shami Prabhu, did I miss anything?
No, Prabhu, there was everything. Thank you, Prabhu.
Thank you, Prabhu.
And another point is, see, some say that the ultimate goal is salvation or liberation. Okay, so that means mukti in Sanskrit. But here, Kapil Muni says that when you attain bhakti, it also involves liberation. So that means bhakti is the next stage of liberation. Okay, so if you develop bhakti towards the Lord, it also covers liberation. So you don't need to put a lot of effort to attain liberation. Bhakti all itself includes liberation. So that is one of the points that Kapila Muni has mentioned here in this chapter.
Yes, Prabhu.
What is that? 3:25, 25, and 11:3:30. Let us see that. 11:3:30. One should learn how to associate with the devotees of the Lord by gathering with them to chant the glories of the Lord. This process is most purifying. As devotees thus develop their loving friendship, they feel mutual happiness and satisfaction, and by thus encouraging one another, they are able to give up material sense gratification, which is the cause of all suffering. Okay, this is 11:3:30, and 3:25:25 is in the association of pure devotees. Discussion of the pastimes and activities of the Supreme Personality of God is very pleasing and satisfying to the ear and the heart. By cultivating such knowledge, one gradually becomes advanced on the path of liberation, and there, after he is freed and his attraction becomes fixed, then real devotion and devotion service begin. Okay, yeah, almost similar verses.
Yes, Prabhu. There's many like that.
Yeah, there are many.
Prabhu. Okay, thank you so much, Prabhu. See you again tomorrow on the reading session.
Sure, thank you. Hare Krishna.
Krishna Prabhupada. Prabhu.